Alright guys, welcome back to another episode. So we're gonna learn about functions today, and functions are like the most important thing in JavaScript. They can let you do many things, do many operations and stuff. So it's hard to explain, but let's say you wanna calculate something, right? And you don't wanna you wanna save it for later, you wanna save it for a certain time in your code. You don't know when you're gonna do it, but you put the code okay. It's like a holder of code. Like you put it and then that code is executed. Remember, code runs line by line. So if you no matter where you put this, it'll run basically. So it's a little hard to explain, but I'll show you. So to get started, we're going to have to declare some variables. So I'm going to start off by declaring one right here, and you don't need this yet, so just save that for later. So to create a function, you do function. Oops, I can't spell. Function, then give it a name, function, kill, then you put the parentheses, and then braces, brackets, braces, yeah, curly braces, and inside of here is where you put your code. And so we could say console.log, I just killed you. Okay, oops. So now, wherever we run kill, it'll do that. I just killed you. Remember, a method is a function. And remember, when we use methods before, we have to have the parentheses. And see, these both are highlighted. So this is foreshadowing, basically. So let me show you why you need those. So if we can use these to pass in what's called arguments. So we could have name. This is just a temporary value you can use. It's like a variable, but it can only be used in here. So let's use one right here. Let's go ahead and set this to a backtick. Get rid of that. Oops. Backtick, and I just killed you. Name. So if you reload, this won't do anything. It's undefined because we didn't pass anything in. So you have to pass in the argument. So if you pass in bitch, like we made earlier, now we're passing in Andy. So Andy will go here to name, and then I just killed you, Andy. So yeah. So if that's a little confusing, okay. So you're passing bitch into the function, the argument for this function, and then it's passed to a temporary value that you set, and then you can use it whenever you want in your code. So to make this a little less confusing, we could like manually put anything we want. We could say dog reload, and it's the same thing. We could use numbers too, true or false, anything. So it's just a temporary value, right? So we could also use more than one, because what's the point if you can only have one, right? So we could have name 2 if you want to call it that, and we could say and name 2 reload, and you get dog and undefined because, well, of course, we didn't pass anything in for number 2. So name 2. Oh no, we'll just pass in bitch for name 2 again. So Andy will be the second one because he's a bitch, right? And yeah. So let's say we don't have anything in, right? Like we had before, so it just says undefined. And what if we don't want that? What if we just want like a default, basically? Like a default value in case we didn't pass anything in for the second one. So to set a default, we could just do name2 equals and then set the name. Um, so homie dog is our default value. So if we didn't pass anything in for the second one, it'll default to that. So we could also do that for name. So name equals doggy instead of dog. And let's remove this argument here. And so we didn't pass in anything, so it automatically just use the defaults. I just killed you, dog and homie dog. I mean doggy and homie dog. So yeah. So that's very useful because we can now pass in values. So let's do a quick example here. So let's say we want to make like a certain little calculator thingy, and we're gonna have const first number equals 56. Const second number equals 57. Okay, and then okay, never mind about that. And so we're going to need a function here. Function calculate sum. Obviously, the sum being the addition of two numbers. Remember, we also use camel casing here because of conventions and all that fancy stuff. And now we're going to run our code here. So wait, we're going to need some arguments because we want to pass these in. So we can just give them names here, num1, num2, and then we could say we can make a value inside of here. So let sum equal num1, num2. Oh wait, you can't do that. Num1 plus 1, 2. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to add it, right? And then we can console.log sum, and then we'll call it. Oh, remember a function? I didn't tell you this yet actually. So a function can be called from anywhere in your code. So even if it's down here, we can still call it up here. Oh, I typed the wrong thing too. So calculate sum, then we'll pass in first num, second num, and then we should return the sum of 113. Okay. So actually, we don't. Developers usually don't pass in the last value with the console.log. They usually use a return, so return sum. And the thing is with this, if we reload, it's not going to do anything because we're not console.logging anything in here anymore. So we got to use it manually, basically. So if we wrap this with the console.log, and put this inside of here, then it'll console.log that value. All it's doing is returning a value, just like a variable would do, basically. So, yep. So from now on, I'm going to use return, I think. So, yes. So there's another way to declare. Wait. Let's comment this out by doing control slash. So anyway, so there's another way to declare function. It's called function expressions. I don't really use it that much, but to do it, you need a variable. So we can use let, and or it can be const too, but we'll use let because I'm lazy to. Yeah, let um uh I'm so uncreative. Oh my gosh. Bob equal function, and then you don't give a name. You just start with that. So the name's right here, so you don't have to pass in a name. You mean you could just pass in a name right here, but there's really no point. It's kind of redundant. And then we could say let some. Oh wait, let me show you. Just return, and then we return a string. So return, hey, I'm Bob. So yeah. So now we can call upon this by doing console.log Bob. And remember, it's a method or function, same thing. So we gotta reload, and now we say, hey, I'm Bob. Okay. And yeah, so that's how you do function expressions. It's basically like what's called an anonymous function. Um, but yeah, I haven't really used it at all, but we're probably gonna be using this in the future, so you gotta know it. So there's another thing called IIFEs. That's another type of function. This is how you spell it. It's called an IIFE, and then S if it's plural. So to declare an IIFE, you do function. Oh no, excuse me. You just have a parentheses here, and let me explain what IIFE is. An IIFE is a type of function that is automatically run as soon as the code is there. Like as soon as your code is run, it just runs by itself. So yeah. So you gotta have some parentheses here, and then you call your function inside of it. You don't need a name because it's being called by itself. So yeah, and then we could say again, we have fruit1 and fruit2, and then inside of here we could return uh, here are your fruits. Oh, okay, never mind. Let's use backticks from now because I just like them. They look fancy to me because I didn't used to use them that much. Here are your fruits. Fruit1 and fruit 2. And then we have to have a thing at the end. So this is where we pass in our values. So fruit 1 and fruit 2. So we could just like put in values manually, like orange and then the next one, or up here we could make some values just cause. So fruit, yummy fruit equals orange, and then const nasty fruit equals grape, because grapes are disgusting. I mean, they're not disgusting, but they're lame. Okay, so we pass in these now. Yummy fruit and nasty fruit. And there we go. And so, yes. So, oh yeah, so it's being called by itself, so we can't use return, we have to use console.log. So change this to console.log. There we go. Reload, and then you get, here are your fruits, orange and grape. So yeah, that's how you use functions in JavaScript. Really cool, and you should play around with them now and then figure out how to make some cool stuff like calculators, just anything that you want to make, and maybe show me what you make if you like it. And leave a like if you liked it, leave a dislike if you like didn't not wait what? No, leave a like if you disliked it too, and subscribe because I'm awesome and you want to see more. And peace.